What's going on, everybody? CaptainRoBear and crew here for Stormforge. Lucky number episode 13.
I didn't even think about that. It's episode 13.
Whatever. YOLO.
So,
Yeah, I didn't even get either. I don't want to play.
Embrace
like
the
what I
chaos.
was doing, skip episode 13. We just jumped to 14 immediately.
So, Drac, you ready to be the third character on the channel to lose an arm?
Hey, let's go.
Damn.
Maybe
Let's go.
Yeah.
is this a thing of mine? I took the Ruby Shore lost her leg in game of saving throws, so this is I gotta
Take my arm and my leg. Give me the full Meta Alchemist treatment. I'm ready. Let's go.
Look, listen, that would be Rook, and poor Rook ended up with an arm that was
gosh.
very much replaced, and a leg which almost isn't safe for work to talk about.
Uh-oh.
he actually lost his head. He got Vorpal sworded.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
He got Vorpal sworded and lived.
Drac, Katri can be your brother.
Ooh. My long lost brother.
Just don't find a dog.
Okay, we have much experience with dismemberment on the channel. It historically actually turns out great.
Oh, goodness. You know, do they make like little prostheses for pixies? I'm just asking, just in case.
I feel like what they do for
Pathfinder.
pixies is they just pick off your wings. Yeah. it's
We're
an
in
easy pluck.
Stormforge. Anything can be artificed.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Have faith in technology.
Yikes. Big yikes.
Nothing.
Big yikes is right. And let's pick up with those big yikes from last week as more conversations were had. A trip to a clandestine library where Callisto sought answers for his lost memories. Searching through much of the Voshborg's research, discovering a unique tie to long-lost mind flayers. Far, far long ago in the Undermountain. Many conversations were had with Alufia to the point of social exhaustion. Bits and pieces of Mishkin's past revealed. Horrors of the potential of Kaivar's future and the visions of the fire mantises possibly crossing through this portal that the divine believe, the oracles have seen, and the wardens can't believe exists. All culminating in Callisto confiding in his family and friends with the corruption in his own arm, manifesting from the extra time inside the Feywild, now quickly becoming an issue, with your doctor's orders to seek out something else than standard medical science could provide. Fruit confides on healing in the upper city, but also revealed a tale of when that molten arm manifested itself inside the Forgotten Lands from that monster bite, that there were consequences held inside the upper city. We're going to pick back up in the evening back at the Amber Forge. You all can choose to just completely rest for the rest of the evening and pop up in the morning, or have any conversations before sleep. The floor is you all's.
I think Mishkin is going to try, before he goes to sleep, to try and catch Callisto alone.
think you'd find Callisto busying himself with helping out Ifjin. I think Ifjin can tell something's wrong, but knows not to ask, so has been given like Callisto small tasks to do to help out around the forge. I think even Callisto knows that she's only really entertaining him because she can tell something's wrong, but he needs it, so he's not going to complain. So you'd see him around the forge, kind of mostly sat by Ifjin as she's working on a gauntlet that she was given to repair.
Mishkin tentatively approaches and... Ifjin, might I borrow your son for just a moment?
She'll look up at you and then at Callisto, and I think we'll see how serious you are, and also see again very clearly the state that Callisto is in. And she'll nod. Yeah, no, I can take care of the rest, Callisto. And Callisto nods, set down maybe a screwdriver that he was about to hand over. Yeah, we can talk outside if you want.
That would be good, thank you.
And I'll lead the way out and kind of hold the door for you to come out and then close it behind us.
What is all this talk about Upper City?
Yes, well, my doctor said that I should probably look into some kind of divine intervention, for lack of a better term, to help with my arm. And all of the temples and priests are up in the Upper City. So, we're going to be going there.
What about the Trove? I thought we were in agreement.
Yes, we can definitely look into the Trove, but when I brought it up to Lilithia, she was very against it, and quite frankly, I guess with the rumors that kind of surround it, I can't be surprised that that was the case.
All right. I suppose we need to do whatever you all think is best. It is your city, after all.
I'm sure we can still ask about the Trove, especially if wherever we do in the Upper City doesn't work. I'll still be able to use my condition, I suppose, to urge people to look into the Trove, but if it does work, we might just have to tell everyone how much we need the Trove for whatever it is you're dealing with.
Then you will still help.
I think Callisto looks surprised that you would even ask or even have to say that. But then that surprise, I think, quickly fades. Yeah, of course. To be honest, I don't really trust that you'll be able to reach the Trove without getting yourself killed or into deep trouble anyway, rather than have to deal with that later on.
Well, thank you.
It's the least I can do, quite honestly.
You're very lucky to have found such a beautiful family, by the way. Your mothers have been very accommodating.
Trust me, I know. I'm doing my best not to take that for granted.
You said you do not remember life before them.
Yes. Quite frankly, even my age is more of an estimation than anything else. But my parents said I was probably around 18, somewhere between 18 and 20 when they found me. I had no memory of anything before that day.
Did you have the skills that you have now? Or were they learned
no.
too?
Yes, no, I learned that. I was, at very least from what I could tell, from what my parents told me, I was very much just a kid. Everything I've learned and can do now, I've learned through many years of practice and training and necessity.
Well, you were fortunate to have such kind and generous teachers.
Yeah. No, I know very few people can say that they have. That's why I take my job as a warden so seriously, so that there can be a world for a bit longer that can provide that for people.
It is very noble.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, it didn't start off noble, but I've grown.
What do you mean?
Initially, I'd only really tried to become a warden for the paycheck. I had a newborn kid, needed ways to provide for them without leaning on my parents as much. And my partner at the time was working, and I didn't want to have that all on their shoulders, so I had to do something. Seeing becoming a warden was that.
I sense that you are not one to carry the burdens of others lightly.
No. I think there's a... My parents always used to say, whenever I was nervous, that it's good that I was nervous, because that's a sign that you want to do well in whatever it is that you're nervous about. You care about it. I think holding something like that as a burden, in a way, is showing that you actually care. There is something you want to take care of and do well at when you do.
What makes you nervous now?
Honestly, I wish I knew. I just have this sense of dread that has only really gotten worse and worse since agreeing to go to the upper city.
You do not have much time for the divine?
It just never really rubbed me the right way, I suppose. I don't have any better explanation for it other than that it makes me feel off.
Yes, I must confess I understand that feeling.
Do you know why? Why you have that feeling?
Yes. Mishkin looks up at the skies and then back at you and just gives a fairly curt smile. You say your intentions did not start off as noble. I would say looking after a child is the most noble thing one can do in this world. I will accompany you to Upper City and perhaps ease a little of your discomfort. Right.
She gets some rest.
Mishkin re-enters.
And I think Callisto stays outside for another 5-10 minutes, just kind of looking out at the sky and the streets, and then we'll also go back into the Ember Forge.
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
Oh no, okay. Ooh, 22.
There is a headwind that's blowing through. You're able to get the last glimpse of the stars that you may get for a while, as you can feel a storm about to blow in.
Callisto will keep that in mind as he enters and goes to his room.
Anyone else doing anything before they let sleep take them?
As Callisto and Ifdrin have been in the kitchen, Lolly's been back in the forge area where it's warm and she feels comfortable as she's just sitting there, not reading the book that's even within her hands, looking down, but it's as if it's not even there. She would then look up and she wants to look for Kaivar. Is Kaivar out and about, or is he where she would not see?
You're asking a question to which you already know the answer.
Would he be in the cupboard already?
Yeah, I'm in the cupboard. I'm not. It's not closed.
Oh my
but
gosh,
it's,
that's sweet bean.
I'm sitting back in the corner of the cupboard, basically. It's very much not trying to hide, but it is very much in the corner, much like before.
Okay. So then, yeah, she would probably see you.
Yeah. Especially considering that like everyone saw previously, and it's a known quantity, you know. Yeah.
Okay. And she would come to realization that she's just allowed her mind to wander, not remembering what it was she was even just thinking about. And she would just close the book, hearing a light pat as the air releases from within its pages, and setting it next to her on this side table. And she gets up and she walks, almost gliding, over to your cabinet and lightly knocking on it. Are you awake?
Just like if the cabinet is here, you just like little buggy eyes come out from around the corner. And
I'll
just
take that as a
gives
yes.
nod. Kaivar like slowly comes around. He's still very cautious. It feels like he's been a little bit more cautious with you than others.
Knowing now what you do about Callisto, and me knowing about a bit more of you, do you have any ideas?
Kaivar sort of searches his mind for a moment, ponders.
Callisto is strong, yes, but
Yes, he's very strong.
not strong from Callisto alone, yes? Yes? Is you.
And Kaivar makes a gesture in your direction,
Is you.
and then sort of gestures to the entirety of the Amber Forge, as if it's implying it's everyone who's been around Callisto that also makes him strong.
One. Alone. Strong. Yes. Yes. Many together. Mighty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Many together. Survive. Yes. Yes.
I mean, I suppose so, but if you're saying we do better in numbers, then wouldn't that prove a little off, considering your home? And potentially somebody else within this group. Notioning at Michigan, but not making it anything apparent. Kaivar.
Kaivar looks down into his hands, looks down at the book, thinks for a second.
I've learned new word the other day. Yes. Yes.
What word?
Word is trust. Yes.
It's a good word.
Trust is for strangers and also, yes, family, yes, but family always trust, yes, yes.
It's like, this is clearly a very new understanding for Kaivar. Like, he's sitting there and understanding the complex nature of trust itself. This idea that you only really need to worry about putting trust in your family in a few instances. Most of the time, the concept of trust there is implicit, and he's just learning that. More often than not, the idea of trusting a stranger is the moment when trust as a concept gets brought up. Like, going back to the very base root of the idea, we're sitting there and saying that it's all about two people standing in a room together and saying we both have skin in the game. Let's make sure that we both come out of this better off than we were going in. It's this kind of acknowledgement of that fact.
This one, Kaiva, not know many of you. Yes, yes, but maybe
That's okay.
this one learn to trust family.
You want to learn to trust our family, or... I'm sorry, once again, it's very hard to understand you.
Ava just frustratedly, like, gives a punch to the Vox real quick. I'm actually going to roll a crafting check.
Whoa, you don't have to get angry. It's fine. We'll figure it out.
Nat 20, there's no repetitions. Nope. Vox makes a few noises, adjusts. Tone shifts just a little bit.
Callisto, strong. Yes, yes.
Yes. Yes.
You strong.
Yes.
Callisto will be okay. But
He'll be what?
but in him there is problem. Yes, yes.
And Kaivar is referring to the fact that earlier it was sort of revealed that Callisto, whatever it is, it's literally in his blood, whatever the problem is.
Yes. Big problem.
Ivar will help. Yes. Yes.
Well, how, though? That's all I need to know.
This one Kaiva does not know. No.
Sort of looks down a little defeated, but, you know, understands that this is kind of something which crosses paths with him but doesn't really fully land in his lane.
What's on your mind?
Roll diplomacy. Actually, no. Don't roll diplomacy. Roll intimidation. Oh man, I've never been more glad for a 20.
Even Michigan feels that.
Storytelling.
Okay.
That's so
Everybody
good.
feels it.
Sorry, that's so good.
I'm not even there and I feel it.
Except the nat 20 situation.
When you request for Kaivar to explain what's on his mind, there is something that is a distinct change in him. It's like subconsciously his backbone uncurls a little bit and goes a little bit more straight. The antennae on his head, which normally are just sort of a little bit sort of flopped around, they almost straighten too. You remember this kind of motion from back when he was suddenly entranced and was being effectively controlled from something that you couldn't see far beyond. And it's this intrinsic reaction that comes from authority. And sort of slowly realizing that no, there isn't any psychic control, but absolutely knowing that you are the authority figure in this house, so to speak. Kaivar sort of looks down at his book, sort of very nervously. His hands start to shake a little bit.
This one Kaivar will show you. But it will be strange. Yes? Yes?
Well, things have only been strange with us so far, so it doesn't make it any different for me. I'm fine.
Kaivar pulls out the book and slowly lays it in his smaller hands, putting the Vox down to the side very carefully, putting a decent amount of space between himself and it. Lays the book down on the table, and with his small hands starts to trace over it. And slowly, from the middle point where it is opened, it starts to turn back, and back, and back, of its own accord. More pages in that book turn back than the ones that you could originally see. It doesn't take a lot for you to realize that somehow this book holds its extra pages within some kind of extra-dimensional space, and they are flowing back. It's almost like someone has turned on a machine that counts money and is just whirring that thing at full speed, and it turns back to page 1. Kaivar places his hand on the book and offers out a larger one in your direction.
Do you want me to touch it?
Kaivar nods.
Alufia composes herself because she realizes that within watching this, she started leaning over, mouth dropping, and it's not normal for her. So she straightens back up as if nothing had even changed before relaxing her shoulders in a way that would seem more natural in conversation. And reaching out her hand, she would hover it above this page, pausing for a moment before the parchment of this page brushes the tips of her fingertips.
As you do that, apparent and visible only to you and Kaivar, spirits start to form and flow out of the book. As in this moment, to explain what's on Kaivar's mind, he casts Ghostly Tragedy.
Long ago, there was no easy
way to explain or record. So we learned to remember as vividly as we could. Yes? This
Yes.
is what happened to my people. And you start to see what was previously a series of formless wisps take shape. Some of them look like Kaivar, but they're much meeker, milder. Clearly something that's not made with survival in mind. It's the freak accident that is life in its very earliest of stages. And there's about 4 or so of these spirits that begin to form. Most crucially of all, though, everything starts to gain perspective as these tiny spirits representing Kaivar's people start to shrink in size. And then other spirits, some of which you might recognize, some of which you don't, begin to form alongside them in comparison. And you sit and you see some species that you recognize. You see Gith, as in the space hippo Gith, not Gith Yankee. You see astral elves. You see mind flayers. You see owls. You see dozens of different species, all of them across the multiverse. And then something starts slowly snuffing them out. Something isn't quite right. Whatever it is, it's a phantasm that seems to grow with every stage. Unspoken, but clearly there and clearly oppressive. Eventually, it begins dragging those that you see. It even pulls through and drags the mind flayers down to the point where there is nothing. Until eventually the Gith and the Astral Elf stand united. They are the ones that throw down this great evil. And there, still in the corner, is Kaivar's people, who have borne witness to what seems to be this great climactic battle, which ends as the phantasmal force is banished by the actions of a single Gith, long rifle in hand. In that banishing wave, the phantasm flows outward towards Kaivar's people. But more, it came from who knows where. Not someone, but something. It would have consumed the universe. There are many things in the far realm like it, but none like this, yes. When it was defeated, long ago, Kaivar's people, we were the last, and we nearly suffered the same fate as those who came before. Of those 4 creatures, phantasms that look like Kaivar's people, 3 of them slowly fade from existence. The one in the center, smaller even than Kaivar, is reaching for them as they do, desperately clawing at shadows that are so easily torn away, until eventually it is alone. Those that survived, they remembered. They were haunted, yes. The Maw would consume all life. All life would fade, because that is as life's purpose, yes. But one survivor swore to rise above, to grow, to be strong, so that the next Maw
would not take from them. Yes. This is how my people came to be. This is why I search. We all fear the more. He will protect us. Yes. Yes. And as the last of the wisps phase out, the book seems to draw phantasmal energy from Kaivar. It is one of those strange moments where you can see the energy passing back out of the room into the book, and some of Kaivar is being brought with it. It's not possessing of his memory, but it is possessing of his energy. And it is clear that it's taken a mental toll from him, as the book spontaneously begins to wrap back to where it was. And as the last page settles, it's as though Kaivar sinks to his knees.
Damage?
Yeah. I have to take negative damage for the number of entities that were in Ghostly Tragedy.
Oh my gosh.
This is why
As
I didn't want to spoil
she
this out.
sees you feel like you've just been hurt, she would rush around the table, outreaching her hands to try and catch you before you fully hit the ground, failing just for a moment as your knees have a thud. But she would get down and crouch and just, are you okay? Can I help? And there's some energy glowing from her hand, but she's not going to touch you with it without permission.
Kaivar looks up and is confused.
Oh God, he's hit his head.
He looks at you very perplexed. And then just sort of looks at your hand as it's outstretched with this energy and connects the gap, so to speak. The place which you were reaching for, he sort of gently shuffles 20% closer to it, as if saying, if you're sure, yeah.
And she does. And it's warm. It's all encapsulating around your arm as it travels. And if you've ever had a CT scan with iodine, that's a good time. But it's like that, where it then starts to maybe feel like you pee your pants. Because your entire body's nice and warm and relaxed. She heals you. Let me roll this.
I'm really upset that I know exactly what that feels like.
Yeah, same. There's a reason why I said it. Can I? Oh, I guess I just do it? Okay. There it is. Please. Oh, I meant to roll that at a different level. Anyway, yeah, she's healing you.
Kaivar feels some of that energy rush back into him, and it is remarkably strange. A figure of authority not only stooping to care, but also taking a moment to actually expend resources is fundamentally strange to him. And you can tell this. As Kaivar gets to his knees and picks the Vox back up, the book is open at an empty page. An empty pair of pages, in fact. Kaivar looks in its direction.
You. There are many great warriors. Yes. But great mothers are the greatest of powers. Yes.
Taken aback by this, she's just gonna look at you and nod hesitantly and confused.
You are strong, matriarch. Yes, yes.
That's what I keep hearing.
This one, Kaiva, has never, no matriarch has ever helped Kaiva like this. Yes, yes.
I'm sorry to hear that, but it's what I do. So please don't worry about it. She says, probably was helping you get up a little bit, and releases her hands from the helpful tone of her grip. And she walks, not fully on the opposite side of where this book is, but just over to the side of you.
I should probably clarify as well. When Kaivar talks about how no mother, no matriarch has ever done something like this for him, it's not in this tone of pity or sadness or remorse. It's genuinely perplexed. It's confused. It's this thing of sitting there and, I don't know, it's like watching a car that you did not know could be submersible drive into water for the first time and actually work. You know, like a James Bond thing, and sitting there and being
That's
like,
scary.
how the hell was I supposed to know that? That was meant to function like that?
It's like
You
Spy
know?
Kids.
Yeah. It's this idea of his conception of what a mother can be has been expanded by this moment. With your nat 20 on an intimidation check, I will let you know that fully, and God, that's such good story for it too, responding entirely to what you had just demanded in a way that he was specifically trained to do. And there is only one other being that has commanded him to do so. That is nat 20 right there. And I'm
Interesting.
so glad you got it. Damn, couldn't hold that one in. So sorry, RoBear. Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you want me to do anything with this book? I'm going to put it away for you. We have a great bookcase, or, I can put it in your cabinet.
Ivar holds one hand out on the newest page that's open too.
You want
sort
me
of
to
like-
touch that page?
Ivar sort of looks for a second of best how to explain. And knowing that he is just basically connected, he doesn't immediately think about using the Vox. He considers reaching out psychically. And then remembers the reason why the Vox exists. It's not to be impolite, jump into people's heads. You show greatest strength. Yes, yes. This one, Kaiva, will
Sure.
sing your song. Yes, yes. Will tell your story. Yes, yes.
Do you collect people's stories? Is that what's in these pages?
Yes, yes. Strength, knowledge, loss, victory.
Kaivar sort of like flips back a few pages over the page with the Juggernaut and onto the page of Farouk that is adjoined to the page of Chrissy.
Kaiva remembers stories of family too. Yes, yes. Family. Strong?
I could imagine so.
Kaivar turns the pages again and turns back
to where it was before.
She watches this and definitely would hesitate and take a long pause before eventually lowering her gaze into this book page before her, and her breath just more imperceptible than before. She would close her eyes as her once light touch reaches back to now push more firmly into this page beneath her fingers, the dusting of white specks that could be seen all across the palish blue-green flesh of her lower arms and down to her hands begin to softly glow, almost like a warm spring sun behind the blurring of clouds, as a silver lining of light can be seen peeking around them. And there would be a trickle of water. It's colored pale blue, and it would bleed out from Alufia's delicate touch of the fingertips of her right hand, spreading out in all directions of this once empty page, only stopping just short of reaching the décolletage edges. Soft encirclings of thin and milky white color would build upon one another until the page was covered in light puffs of what looks like clouds, but only for a moment. Then dark, inky energy forming from the golden rings encompassing Lufia's fingers begin to flow down toward her fingertips from some of the softly illuminated specks around her wrists, capturing the lighter, pale colors that slowly start to take over this inky energy before it fights back and builds in opacity amongst what was once the soft white clouds that are now being consumed by dark nimbus clouds as they fill the page. Small illuminating sparks weaving throughout these darkening clouds, beginning to harden into a solidifying stone filled with glimmering atoms, sustaining for a brief second before it too goes in inky black, ceasing from it the exuberant energy that was not long ago there on the parchment.
At the first touch, the book was as stern as Kaivar at first. But as all of this plays out, it responds. It's almost like something of authority has changed this page. But equally, this is not the authority of a tyrant. This is the authority of someone who is righteously in charge. The authority of a safe pair of hands, of a helmsman who guides the ship. As those last details of yours start to bleed into the page, gently but firmly, the book closes of its own accord, with a very soft thud.
Quickly removing her fingers from it. Why did it do that?
Ivar actually takes a look at it and sort of runs his hand along the spine. He's never seen his book do that. It visibly confuses him. It
visibly confuses her. When she sees that's how you react.
It go to sleep? Yes?
Sure, it's your book. I believe it.
Looking at this thing, Kaiva's like, and then just like gives it a shake, like, puts it back down again, visibly confused. Not like worried, but definitely sitting there with this notion of, why are you not doing the thing? Please wake up. What is going on? Thank you. Yes. this
Yeah,
one, Kaivar,
sure.
will remember the knowledge. Yes, the story, your strength. Yes. You
I
are
appreciate that.
sitting and contemplating for just a moment, knowing conversation's probably coming to a close.
he is lucky to have you. Yes.
Ain't that the truth? Tell him every day.
A sort of affirmative nod, and a very confused Kaivar who has a lot to think about. He's just going to sort of like pick up the book and sort of put it in the opposite corner of him. He's actually going to put the blanket on top of the book inside the cabinet and go to the other corner and just sort of like sit and just sort of like clean his antennae, think about what's been happening there. It's like 1,000-yard stare, still trying to figure out what just happened.
She would not push. And would probably see Mishkin and Callisto walking inside.
Mishkin, seeing the both of you, just nods and moves through to the foundry and just sits off to one side in one of the corners.
I would just say Lelufia would approach Callisto so that they could retire for the evening.
Yeah. And I think as Callisto's getting dressed, putting on his pajamas and all, he kind of pauses and looks to Lelufia. Those kids died. Were killed.
You don't know if that's true. We never heard a report on it, or the names.
Yes, but would Farouk have reason to tell us if he wasn't sure?
I mean, I suppose not. But he also believes that there's a... Callisto, he believes that there's a portal in our ward that we don't know about. They're known for telling stories. You can't believe everything he says, even if he believes it. That's
This is the first Callisto's heard of the portal.
Sound like.
A portal? What do you mean?
Yes. Exactly as I said, that his people came from this portal and we had no idea that it was even there. It's evidently in the caves.
I mean, I've heard about Freety coming through from the fire plane. I didn't hear anything about it being a portal within the mountains. Is it our section of the mountains?
Yes, evidently.
I mean, if you're right that he's just picking up the stories he's heard, I suppose we can look into it, ask other wardens. Some others might know.
Sure. But I'm very tired, Callisto. We can talk about this
Yes,
more.
I'm sorry. Yes.
And she just kind of gets into bed and just turns away to drift off.
And Callista will sit at the foot, at the side of the bed. And I think just think for a while. I don't even think he's really sure how long he's sitting there. But eventually he does get into bed and fall asleep.
Anyone else?
Yeah, while everyone is at the forge, Chrissy is somewhere in some dark corner close to nature, in almost like an urn filled with water, looking up at the darkening sky as he closes his eyes. And as he does, he begins to float, arms stretched outward, wings soaking wet, and kind of just begins to meditate. He is processing the changes in the sky. Is it fair to say that I've seen these storm clouds? Where I can feel them? Or should I roll for that?
No, you can see him.
Okay. Looking at the storm clouds and feeling very nervous about it for the first time. And with that, Lily pops up on top of the urn and just covers it, leaving Chrissy in complete darkness. As the silver in his eyes reflects the last bit of moonlight before glowing in the darkness, only shielded by the closing of his eyelids. And we'll leave that there.
Anyone else?
I will say, before going to sleep, and once he is comfortable in the fact that he is the only one awake in the Amber Forge, Mishkin, with it having been some time since he last, is once again going to draw from out of his satchel, using his mage hand, a long metal file, and once again parting the long spiky fur on the top of his head, just begins to file away at the skull beneath his ears. And then he goes to sleep.
Go ahead and roll Constitution. In this case, this will be your Fortitude save.
Okay.
Is that everyone or just?
Is that?
Ooh.
Oh man.
Big yikes.
20s and ones, baby. 20s and ones.
This is for everyone, by the way.
Oh, everyone. Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
this is the waking
Fortitude.
up roll. Okay. I thought that I was like filing through the skull now. This is
Yep.
Michigan. Oof, pray.
My brain's a lot flatter now.
Could scramble an egg on that
It's
thing.
a lot smoother.
Did mine not?
Not
oh, it
husband
did.
and wife being the same.
Oh my
again.
god.
And me and
Dude.
Krak are the
Again?
same.
Oh,
Hey.
ship it.
Besties.
Oh my god. We need to stop.
It's insanity.
Can
Look
I?
at us shortest kings.
I would
Mwah.
like. I have an idea, and I would like to do that, if it's okay. Unless you're starting with the net one first, then go right ahead.
No, go ahead, start. You're 30.
Okay. I think by the time people start waking up, they will have... Chrissy's already there. Just like pops up. Is there. And is sitting on the edge of the counter in the forge with one leg crossed over the other, and he is filing his nails. But he is now, instead of that green gown that he wore that was ripped, he is sitting in these pure white, gold embroidered, like, pantsuit. Though the pants themselves have a little bit of a flare. And he still has the scarf around his neck. And his eyes are shining. Not necessarily emitting light, but they are. There's an intensity there that wasn't there before. It is almost like looking at stars from, the ground. They are just piercing, delicate, beautiful, and fiery. And as he's filing his nails, he'll stop every so often to pick a small piece of fruit from the basket that is normally on Lily's back and just pop it in his mouth and humming very jovially. And there are windows, like big display windows that I can see out of, right?
You manifest it. It's all about you.
Okay, well, I guess there are windows at the Amber Forge that I'm just gonna... Well, yeah, because he was being nosy and peering out at Lelufi and Callisto last time.
Yeah.
So he is kind of keeping an eye on the sky. Like, what is it doing outside? Is it raining? Is there, like, anything happening, or is it just gray?
Let's find out.
Oh, come on.
Ow.
Wait, is that like a 1 for you?
Whatever low pressure system blew through last night, it completely missed Stormforge. But it brought the temperature down to this lovely 72 degrees, even in the sunlight. It's that point where anyone could lay out and soak up some of the sun and not be uncomfortable. It is literally the perfect day.
Okay.
It is Copenhagen with sunshine. There are people at every single sidewalk cafe. Everything is bustling.
Okay. So then, yeah, like it's just a feel good morning for me. So, question. What, like, not when Chrissy was in this like little sensory deprivation thing, like he wasn't necessarily looking for a vision. But was there anything that he dreamed that was given to him that could be useful, or that kind of ties to some of the stuff that has been going on in the last 24 hours?
Give me a spell attack roll. Actually, no, I'm going to have you do a occultism roll with advantage. So keep higher since you were in the sensory deprivation state of mind.
Okay. 20.
Mine seems to be in two places.
Okay.
Concentrated on the visions that have occurred that have made Kaivar so nervous in this new tension. For once, that isn't you. You can feel the literal threads between Callisto and Lufia. You don't know what was revealed in last episode, but you can feel the manifestation of Callisto's secret and the pain that he's carried with it before confiding.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good. I'm not the reason why people are upset. So, no wonder why I'm just like popping fruit and like filing the nails like it's nobody's business. So, I'm just sitting there and, kind of like, I'm peering up towards the stairs, like feeling those threads, because I don't want to say that I necessarily feel tension, but I'm feeling like those threads, especially since we are now, like, all of our threads are intertwined. Like, I'm feeling those two pull at me a little bit more. And as I peer upward, there's a slight look of concern, but, you know, knowing that it's not my business until somebody makes it my business, I kind of look around to see where Farouk might be, where Mishkin is, where Kaivar is, as Lily just kind of sneakily, like, noses through the basket to try to find something to eat, and ends up taking out and breaking most of my glassware that's in there because he's massive and this is a very small basket. I'm like, Lily, we're literally having a really good morning. You don't have to do this to me. Please, for the love of all that is cosmic, would you stop? You could just ask. You act like I don't give you food. You want bacon? I'll get you bacon. See, there's my boy. All right, bacon for you. And so now I'm like sorting through the mess that is this basket and like taking out like these massive strips of bacon that should not fit in there and just start like pulling them upward with two hands, staggering as this long strip of bacon just comes out.
You can throw bacon over your shoulder.
Basically. And so without like me being able to like get this strip of bacon out fully, Lily comes by and just snatches it and like pulls it and yoinks me back too. Lily! You're lucky you're so cute. You know that? You're lucky you're cute. This is why I don't have children.
You get a big bacon kiss lick.
I just did my eyebrows. Please. Come on, go lay down. Go lay down. We're not going rest. Yeah, okay.
I spin around twice and then sit down in the kitchen and let my eyes look up and try to be as innocent as possible until the next glimpse of food comes out.
It ain't gonna work. We've been together too damn long.
I combat crawl 1 inch closer.
Lily, no. No. Nope. No. And you see, like, I'm making sure not to make eye contact, and I'm, like, tilting my head upward into the side and just avoiding a gaze at all until I gaze. And I'm like, fine. More. You want more bacon? Fine. It's yours. And I just start pulling out more bacon and like throwing it over. Okay, you good? We're good now? You don't have to do that to me. That's not nice. That's very manipulative. All right.
I drag my third piece over just to where the sun is shining into the amber forge, and I lay down on my side, and I take this one very delicately, just nibbles and bits at a time as I lay there in the sun, and outstretch my legs out just a little bit where I go stiff just for a second, and you'd think I was a fainting goat.
You couldn't. You choose now of all times to. You could have. Lily, please. All right. You know what? You're cute. And then, like, I'm now at this point, like, frantically filing my nails. Oh, God. All right. Hello? Somebody help me. There's a dog on the loose.
Kaivar.
Ivar peers his head outside of the cabinet real quick and looks over in the direction of the forge first, and then looks over in the direction of where the kind of like front of house and kitchen is, and then sort of like gingerly grabs his book and heads towards Lily and sees you at the table.
Chrissy.
Sort of like runs over to the thing. Runs over to the table and sort of takes a seat. Where have you? I've got to ask, by the way, is V in the kitchen or Iftrin, or is it just you right now?
I think Iftrin. I think with how RoBear described the day, I think Iftrin has taken I think Iftrin literally walks past you in this moment with an anvil under one arm, just goes, "Morning, Kaiva, Chrissy." Morning, and we'll go outside and we'll just do like their work outside, like just outside the steps of their forge.
What a boss!
I was this close to dropping an expletive of talking about how badass that
is. V, I think, is still waking up. I think V will be like, I think V's awake and is like getting ready for work. So I think that this will be still like a weekday. So I think they'll still be going to work. So they're the one probably in the kitchen, quickly putting together like breakfast for themselves, and then also some packed lunch for when they need to lunch and out and about.
As Iftrin passes, I just kind of like clutch my proverbial pearls and I'm like, "You gotta love a working woman. You really do. There's nothing like it."
I love your job. You never work a day in your life. That's a lie. Don't believe anyone who says that. And then we'll walk out.
Kaivar.
Yes.
Can I sense that you feel... Excuse you. Jesus, Ed.
Lily lets out a squeaker.
Walking across
Right?
Sorry, my age is showing up.
Would it be fair to say that I've sensed that you've changed, not necessarily in a bad way, but there's a little bit more depth from our first meeting, Kaivar?
On the base, 100%, because you've never seen Kaivar greet you keenly. For a sense of how it is underneath all of that, go ahead and roll diplomacy, I guess. See how much you see has changed.
Okay. 17.
10 or above on the dice, easy peasy. You see that Kaivar's enthusiastic to greet you, but you also see that his enthusiasm is partly because of contrast. Because it's almost like he's coming off of a very weird, rough night, and is just really glad to see that the day has already begun in a very different fashion. You know?
Yeah.
It's like a friend coming in being like, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you. God, today was something." At all the nonsense that was going on in my thing. And it's more of the enthusiasm that's coming through, but it's very clear that like a weight has been lifted off of Kaivar's shoulders.
I smile, and then reaching out psychically. Did you have a rough night, darling?
Kaivar thinks about responding with the Vox for a second, and then you've reached out into his mind.
I learned many things last night. There was great terror at first, but something new, strange. Something I did not expect, yes?
Yeah.
And as he's doing this, he sort of like puts the book on the table quite gingerly and sort of like has one hand on it. And whilst he is trying his best to maintain some eye contact, a thing that he is learning to do, he is very squarely focused on that book while he's saying a lot of this.
So, growth. You've come a long way, Kaivar, from when I first met you. I'm proud of you. And there is a gleam in Chrissy's eye as he says it, as like this very soft, genuine smile just paints itself across his lips. And he nods. And retracts from speaking to him psychically. Are you hungry? I would offer you bacon, but I think Lily ate the last piece.
Food. Yes.
And Kaivar just sort of like, while before he was standing at the edge, he hops up onto the seat that he's closest to. It's a very awkward motion. Like there is no easy way for him to fit into this thing that is not anatomically designed for his buggy butt. You know, he does the best of it that he possibly can. Looks a little bit like one of the grasshoppers from Bug's Life. At the end of the day. Except far more socially awkward. Very hunched over in his seat now too, I'm realizing. Like incredibly hunched over, like way too hunched over.
There's a very amused expression on Chrissy's face as he just kind of like nods once, very like, okay, you're trying. Like, I respect that. And there is a pause as Chrissy gets up and looks around for food. And he did make food, but it is very tiny food. But there's also a plate there of bigger stuff that he made, that he tried to make. It doesn't really look great. He's not accustomed to feeding larger individuals. So there's like some overcooked scrambled eggs and like...
I think that it would be a full body workout.
Yeah. Well, thankfully Lily can help. Maybe. But there's like a single sausage link that is also overdone because trying to flip that thing is...
The grease splash alone.
Yeah. And then there's like some fruit that is like haphazardly strewn across the plate. Some like grapes and there's an apple that is off to the side that is bruised from tiny hands that punched it. And he kind of like brandishes this plate as like a medal of honor, having gone to war with food. And it's just like, I tried. I did my best. I'm not domesticated, and feeding that's a lot of food, right? That's enough for everybody? No?
Kaivar's eyes are wide with anticipation. His antennae have gone straight up, kind of like with alert and excitement. Almost a little bit like Lily's whenever someone says the word bacon, you know? It's like Lily's ears. they just pop up. It's like you've shown Kaivar a plate of food and he's sitting there like, yes, please. Just
so
like, yeah, transfixed.
Chrissy pops up and like gets behind this plate and just starts like pushing this thing towards you. And honestly, in all actuality, it is probably half of a serving for a normal person. You know, it's like a scrambled egg and a sausage link and like a string of like 5 grapes, and
Like, that took you ages. Like,
it did.
Yeah.
It took forever. And the apple isn't actually an apple. It's more like a cherry, but we're not, whatever. You know, like it's a lot.
I was not complaining. He has no notion of what a normal portion size is. He's just gonna sit down and happily eat that nonsense, you know?
And by the time Chrissy gets it in front of Kaivar, like there is a bead of sweat dripping from his brow that he just takes like a little handkerchief out of like the pocket on his suit jacket and just like delicately dabs it and goes, ooh, I don't need to work out for another 3 years. It did it. Okay.
Drac, I'm curious. Is this Chrissy's food, or did they raid the Amberforge fridge?
Oh no, he absolutely raided the fridge.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? Like he was like, I'm gonna make breakfast for everybody. Like everybody deserves that. And so this was breakfast for everybody.
Don't mind me.
I almost want to say that V was probably up when he went to go raid
Yeah,
the
probably.
refrigerator, and he did ask. He did ask for like an egg and a sausage and some fruit.
Yeah.
I would
No, okay.
imagine on this day, because it being so nice, they have made some fresh blueberry muffins early on. Like, you know, once the forge is just getting kicking, you're wasting heat anyway. So you probably got some banana bread, some muffins in there, maybe some fresh sourdough, something early on. So like the breakfast bar is there, but it doesn't have like the full protein setup. It's the base, because they're everyone's excited about their day. They don't want to be cooped up very much. So like there's the dry goods that are up there, but you were going for all the fixins.
Yeah, and so I would say V did definitely give me an egg, or give Lily an egg because I couldn't hold it, and gave me the sausage because Lily would eat it. And like we just set up shop.
I think V would have been fine with you making the breakfast. I'm just trying to decide how they're gonna react to the breakfast if they see it.
You know, that's the question. That's the $1 million question. Is it gonna be like,
No, I know what V would do.
Pat.
V is very much like it's very much like a bless your heart kind of
it's
energy.
very southern. Yeah. Bless your heart. You really tried, didn't you?
Our favorite couple, you smell the distinct smell of a singular burnt sausage.
I think I jolt up awake because as far as I'm concerned, my parents are cooking and they've never burnt a sausage. So something must be wrong. So they like bolt up awake. I kind of turn to Lelufia to see if she's awake already. If not, I think I will shake. Yeah.
Like turned her head over, just like, what?
You smell that?
Yeah, it smells like it's burnt. Oh. And she also
He looks at Luffy like, yeah. And I think we'll like a rush downstairs. Like still in pajamas, like hasn't
grabbing
brushed his
a
teeth.
robe, like tying it as she's going down the stairs.
As the plate like reaches right in front of Kaivar, that's when you see Chrissy wipe his brow, and like he just looks up at you like, where's the fire?
Where is the fire?
Don't eat that.
Excuse me, I worked very hard on that, and Kaivar.
You made it?
Yes.
You're gonna work on your health later?
Oh,
it's burnt.
Okay, I was worried. I was really worried.
I really tried. I'm sorry. I was trying to make breakfast for everybody. I don't think this is enough for everybody. Okay, maybe I should just not cook anymore. I mean, V gave me the egg and the sausage and some.
Yeah.
Is this one of the spicier fruit sausages?
It is.
I think so. I
It is.
don't.
Oh,
honestly,
no,
I
you
don't think we
burnt
have
one of
any
the
other sausages.
Oh no, that's what I rolled my fortitude check for. Ivar can't sweat, but he's quietly inside his mouth as all of this is going down. He's dying just a little bit.
I think that makes it worse that you can't sweat.
No idea what's going on with any of it. He's not had this kind of reaction to one of the sausages before.
Oh, come here. And she's got her eye on you and running over to grab the pitcher to fill it up with some water and kind of just like shoving it toward you because she can't find your mouth exactly. She's like, just drink this.
With all...
Merskin! I think we left those leftovers in for a bit too long.
No, it was just me. I just tried to cook. I'm sorry. I won't do it again.
Oh, I'm sorry. As I look over and I can clearly see the frozen pizza that we put inside the forge that we fell asleep on has long been turned into charcoal as well. Ah, damn. I was looking forward to eating that last night. Oh.
In all the commotion, Mishkin is going to wake. And I will say with my natural 1 for falling asleep, I probably fell asleep mid-filing. And so I am, as surreptitiously as I can, going to try and swipe the file from off the stone floor of the foundry and just slip it surreptitiously back into my bag before joining you all.
God, those airships are loaded, eh?
Yes. Grey skies too.
I'm gonna roll a perception check with disadvantage on my side.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna roll a perception as well with disadvantage because, like, a file in a a forge isn't weird.
This is me.
I guess like seeing it be taken.
Gonna roll my stealth against it. 27.
I'm tempted to roll survival at disadvantage, but I think we all know how that ends anyway. Oh, I see the 20 in there.
It was at disadvantage, so I didn't get the 20. Yeah.
Robbed.
Yeah, no, notice.
With the power of Lolly and Callisto combined, can it be an advantage instead? What?
I think we're too busy initially worried for Ifjun, and then we realized it wasn't Ifjun, so I think we're busy.
Mishkin, what are you doing?
Spell components. That's all. Breakfast. Let's eat them.
Generally, spell components aren't you.
Well, clearly you haven't been seeing the blood I've been spilling, and occasionally, the more questionable magics require it. Farouk, do we have to do this here?
There's better ways, Mishkin. Not all bright stars have to burn out early, buddy.
Well, this is my way of remaining usefully bright to everyone.
Since it is breakfast and there's a lot of people around, Farouk is going to keep it to that and keep your discretion.
Noticing this, Mishkin just nods and... So, I hear you are going to be our guide to Upper City.
I've sent Farouk to get pedicabs for the whole group.
I don't know what that means.
Traveling in style.
Oh god. I'm just gonna go and just break a little bit of toast off and just...
Does
nibble at it.
Chrissy hear Farouk say travel in style?
Roll a perception check. I'm not trying to hide anything at the moment.
Okay. It's a 19.
19, yeah, you can overhear me talking.
You just hear like this very small shout from the other room. No matter where I go, I'm out. Wherever I'm traveling, I'm always stylish.
Of course you are. It's good to see you, Chrissy.
It's good to see you, Farouk. I tried to make breakfast. I'm sorry I burnt it.
Extra tasty, crispy. All right, in my book.
I did make a pixie breakfast if anybody wants some of that. That came out real good.
No one's tried the burnt sausage. Farouk will eat the burnt sausage.
I rolled
Kyber.
fortitude on
Oh,
that.
no,
Yeah,
that's
Kyber
it.
Kyber ate already, yeah.
Oh, you beat me to it. You're looking a little red around the gills there, Kyvar.
Yeah, actually, the like, he's trying to articulate words through the Vox, but it actually comes through as coughing because he can't quite get it out.
There is
Eventually he puts
also... Oh my gosh, go, no,
He just
you go.
keyboard mashes. I love the idea of Kyber keyboard mashing because he just can't get anything out.
He does actually eventually put down the Vox, and like with his two small hands, he just sort of like does this pummeling motion against his chest, like against the cavity where it's normally held, just kind of trying to like move anything, make sure something is going on there. Shakes his head a whole bunch. And then picks the Vox back up.
Sorry, Farouk. Yes.
Nothing to be sorry about.
I think, like, kind of behind Chrissy, you see a bunch of small plates of, like, very typical pixie food. Like, there are, like, little nutmeg sprinkled, like, flapjacks. There are very floral, like, notes that come out. There's a little stein of honeysuckle nectar. There are a few like little grains of wheat that are toasted and perfectly like browned and covered in powdered sugar. There are things that he made, but they are like, I mean, they're small. So like they are dished there. So like if anyone did want to try it, it's there. But like that was more for like, I know this is not going to sustain you, but if you wanted to try what I can actually make, it's kind of like the peace offering of like, I'm sorry, I'm not big. I'm vertically challenged and I have small hands. I can't carry things.
I think Calista kind of like, upon seeing, I think deep down, and I think Lolithia would have noticed this, him like jolting up and awake and fearing that there's something wrong with Ifja and smelling the burnt sausage, was very much like almost a distraction for him. Just like, okay, cool, a problem I can focus on. I'm gonna go check if my mom's okay. And then sees that she is. And then his energy, all of that anxiety is reverted back to where it originally was, which is within him and where they're going to be going today. And running his hands through his hair, kind of with a frustrated, kind of exasperated sigh, he's going to go over to the forge. And I think I like the way you described it, RoBear, that there's a lot of wasted heat when the forge turns on. So I think like attached to the forge, either on top of it or like on the other side of it, because I think maybe the kitchen's on the other side of the forge itself. They're using the same flame to heat the oven.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think,
Yeah,
he goes to grab some muffins that V has made. V, I think, is just heading out to go to work and will give Callisto a kiss on the cheek. I think he kind of like she tugs on his sleeve and he's like, okay, and crouches down for a kiss on the cheek.
It's not ready yet, But I need your favorite soup.
Favorite soup? Oh,
that's easy. Pumpkin cinnamon. Hello, obviously.
I mean, my brain immediately went to Nigerian soup.
I love that. Do it. Yes, go.
It's called egusi soup.
Do tell.
It's kind of like, I don't know if anyone in America really has it. You know, it's okra soup. I think it's a good one, actually. Okra soup. If anyone has okra, it's I'll say okra soup, like spicy okra soup.
That sounds so
I think
good.
nearly everything has spice in it because, like Callisto doesn't know. I don't think anyone really knows for sure, but he has some kind of flame-based heritage, and I think his tolerance for spice is pretty high because of it. So a lot of those foods are spicy. So I think it's like a spicy okra soup.
It's just starting to get effervescent inside the Amber Forge as that soup stew is coming into its own. Not quite ready yet, but has been hanging out over there, absorbing, not wasting any of that extra heat, and will be precisely ready come lunchtime.
I think V gives Callisto a kiss on the cheek because she sees that Callisto doesn't even give it a second look. I think he's got that nerves where he can't eat. He knows he has to, which is why he's getting a muffin, but like he has no appetite. So doesn't even give this pot of soup a second glance, when usually he very much would. And grabs a muffin before heading back into the main like front desk / dining area that everyone's been residing in, and sits down and starts picking at the muffin.
I think that as soon as the escalation in you, Callisto, decreases, just based off of the knowledge that I have from the time I spent in this tank, there's a very visual, like anybody and everybody's going to see the shift in my face as my eyes follow you with concern, as I feel that tightness of that thread start to pull, and idly I just kind of place a hand on my chest and like grip at the cloth. And I'm silent as I watch you, just kind of taking it in and in my own way trying to decode what happened. Where, you know, in this short time frame that we've been away, something drastic has happened to create this difference in emotion, in tension within you. And then my eyes only break to look at Lelufia, who I'm feeling equal tension from. And I'm just making a mental note of it, but it is all over my face that there is care, there is concern there.
So, what awaits us in Upper City? What is our destination? What are we looking out for?
Why are we going to Upper City?
Well, that's
what
right.
about the mountain?
Rather more pressing concerns involving the health of one of our members is weighing on us presently.
Chrissy's eyes shoot instantly to Callisto. And it kind
Callisto's head is down and is just, he hasn't eaten his muffin, he's just been breaking it apart. But kind of hearing that, he does kind of look up a little bit. Yeah. Going to be seeing someone in the Upper City. I assume we're going to a temple for some kind of insight.
Can I glean that this has to do with his arm?
I don't think it's that hard to guess.
Okay.
I think you've all seen the arm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you've seen it in its current state. I think everyone else has, but I don't think you have just yet. But you've all seen his arm and the state it was in. and you've seen, I don't think you've seen him dress it, but you've seen his arm when it originally, I think probably first when you saw it was when we were fighting those Sky Wardens, Sky Marshals, and basically the left side of my shirt basically burned away after I used it.
Okay.
So you've seen it before, so it wouldn't be that hard to put 2 and 2 together.
Chrissy kind of nods and kind of, he stands and he can't fly right now. Like, he extends his wings, but they're still a little damp. So he just kind of like platforms his way down and over. And is going to platform his way up onto the table in front of your...
Am I seeing all this?
Yeah.
So, like, why you're not flying?
Yeah. Like,
He's gonna... Can I walk over to you and, she's had her hands, like, kind of held together, but she's gonna bring up one of them. Just, may I? She's wanting to help you air out your wings.
oh, these? And he's, like, pointing to his wings.
Yes, that way you can fly.
There's a look of, like, what? And he just nods and fixes his face, and, like, there's like this overwhelming, like, jovial, like, aura that just beams from behind his silver gaze. And he nods as he, like, extends his wings almost flat, fully against his back.
All right. And you would see this is really only visible to the eye of Chrissy and barely even to the Lufia, but she feels the sensation as she just brings out the tiniest bit of air as it practically whispers across her wings, drying them almost to the extent where you would see a wet dog suddenly fluffed up by a hairdryer. But of course the wings don't fray, but they're just suddenly very perky and awake.
And he kind of just, like, giggles very jovially, very childlike, as he flaps very quickly and shoots up and almost twirls in the air and, like, turns
All right.
to look at Lelufia and just, like, grabs onto her finger with his hands if she allows.
She
Thank
wouldn't
you.
know what to do at first, so she would just let it happen. She's like, whoa.
Thank you. That means more to me than I can ever express, and I appreciate you. I'm gonna take a look at
It's fine.
his arm.
Glad you're in tip-top shape.
Well,
So we can get
yeah.
up to the upper city.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a while. Nerve-wracking. And he kind of just, like, giggles a little bit and, like, floats back over to land in front of Callisto and his muffin and looks down at his arm and the fresher bandages. I'm going to roll perception because I want to see what I can see on these things. 19.
Everyone, you need to gather your things. I've ordered transportation to Upper City today. I figured that no better way to get to the top of the mountain than in style. And we got a perfect day. Please. And you guys can see that there are a handful of young adults in front of these very, very worn alabaster bleached white canvas topped pedicabs that are outside.
Lily kind of, like, pops up and grabs the basket and just, like, waits. And I look at Callisto before looking to Farouk and, like, sticking a finger up as if to say, like, give me a moment. Is there anything that I'm noticing about your arm with a 19?
Yeah, honestly, that's up to. I think you can't really see his arm because I think it's thoroughly wrapped as it should be. But as far as the wrappings itself, I guess that's up to RoBear. But would he see anything at 19 perception?
Not right now after the wrap last night. You would have been able to see it last night, but they did a touch-up job before they all departed. So it's got fresh wrap on it, so you can't tell what's behind there right now.
Okay. And like there's nothing with the bandages themselves.
No, it's fresh, so you can't even see the smoldering that has come through before.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of just like cock my head a little bit to the side, and maybe later when I have some time to be by myself, I will see what answers I can divine for you. But if I do that, I want to make sure that it is not in a place that anybody else is in jeopardy.
Yes. Let's just do one thing after another. I'm already going to the upper city to a temple. I think I'll tackle that first before potentially speaking with Fates.
Well, you don't have to speak with them. I'll speak with them on your behalf if I have your consent.
Like I said, after we've dealt with the whole temple part first.
Fair enough.
One thing at a time.
Yeah. Until then, I will be as supportive as possible and not make breakfast anymore. I'm really sorry about that. And he just kind of like he doesn't want to show off and like do the flipping and the flying. So he does. He just platforms down to a waiting Lily and pops down onto his back. And then as he's on Lily and Lily's making his way for the door, he gently tugs at Mishkin's robe, like playfully. It's good to see you, my friend. You look like you're standing taller. Maybe not. You look a little sad. We'll talk about it. And then he just he doesn't even wait for Mishkin to respond. He just like moves towards the door.
Mishkin throws his scarf up over his head, a hood once more, and unnoticed by all but Farouk. Or rather, the other way around. Noticed by none except for Farouk. There is a small wince of pain as it rests atop his head, and he steps out into the sunny day and into one of the cabs.
Not nearly as strong as the pain of shame and pride as you see that this is probably the most non-inconspicuous way to travel possible. It still has the adornments of working overnight, of the strung up lights and feathers. If you've ever seen the wild carriages that run through the streets of Memphis by any chance, or larger big cities that are just completely tourist trap ostentatious, that I love to take when I'm on conventions and film arriving destination to destination. This one's my favorite.
This is rickshaws in London's West End at like 10 p.m. at night.
Oh yeah. Decorated with seagull feathers and a very, very worn out dream catcher. Farouk is sitting in his favorite plush corner. Come on, we got a ways to go. You know how much longer this would take if we had to walk. Cool.
You see Kaivar kind of like stumble out of the Amber Forge and just sort of like approaches the rickshaw. Does not know what the hell to do. Is there anyone in the rickshaw that has Lily and Chrissy? Raven, is are Chrissy and Lily alone in a rickshaw?
Are we alone in one of the thingies?
Yeah, one of the things that has been called up. If so, seeing that there is more space there, because Lily and you are smaller beans, Ivar is going to awkwardly lever himself into the rickshaw, having to basically fit himself curled up sideways.
How many are out there?
We got 3 of them.
3 of them? Okay, so that would essentially be 2 each.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, right now, Lily and Chrissy are probably in the first one because he has got the audacity today.
Yeah, you're just going to see a very awkward Kaivar kind of like stumble up there, and then as though he has 4, 5, 7, 9 left feet, I don't know, he's just going to try and like hoist himself and maneuver himself into the rickshaw next to you, which is clearly the most awkward thing you've ever seen possible.
No, I've been around a while. I've seen a lot of awkward things. I mean, this is probably top 5, but, you know.
For background, Chrissy, me and you have taken the Alabaster rickshaw or pedicabs before when we've gone to essentially the upper cities version of Western Sizzler, Ponderosa, Golden Corral.
Yeah,
100%.
Love it there. They actually serve very, very good pixie food. Who would have thunk?
Salad bar not to be missed.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
A
And
once
the
a
only
month
reason
treat.
why they did that was because me and you ended up complaining because there was nothing I could eat.
Oh, the times. How they've changed. I imagine the couple will be in their own, and I will be with Mishkin.
Mishkin.
What's been decided?
Where we're sitting and who we're sitting with.
Yeah, we're assuming like Callista and Lelufi are probably going to be taking one of them on their own. Well, on their own together, and then the others will be separated between the others.
Two people a cab, basically.
Yeah, 2 people a cab,
Okay,
Callista and
thank you.
Lelufi.
Yeah, Mishkin will very, very tentatively step into one of these cabs, though not before catching your eye, Callisto, and just giving you a nod before stepping in and sitting opposite Farouk.
If you want to go.
Callista will walk in and take a seat, and like the moment he sits down, he's got the anxious kind of leg tap, like he's bouncing his leg up and down, and you can tell he's physically trying to stop himself from doing it, but it stops for like a minute at most, and he starts right up again. As he kind of just
As you hear Farouk yell out as the 3 younger Efreet immediately begin pedaling as we pull off onto the main drag onto the cobblestone until they
Lucy will
find the
put her
bike
hand,
path.
like on Callisto's shoulder while also holding on to like the window.
Chrissy is on the back of Lily, who is laying down and very accustomed to this. And Chrissy has like his fingers interlaced, resting behind his head and his feet kicked out. And he's just like, yeah, okay, normal. And he looks over to Kaivar.
Kaivar is also, as they're going up on the seats, I want you to imagine that someone's thrown an accordion into the tumble dryer. He's trying to speak, and that's what's coming out of the Vox.
They really need to get more than a single brick wide bike path here. That's just unfeasible.
Yes, it's certainly a bracing way to travel.
It's much smoother once we get past the big city.
Is it good? Farouk, I have to ask,
Yes.
what manner of divine individuals are we due to be?
No, Big Rock! What Big Rock?
Yes, let me rephrase my question somewhat. What manner of divinity and religious ceremony are we due to encounter in upper city?
Big tribal fire!
Big.
How much longer do we have on this path? Yes, large tribal fire. Gonna Call to the ancestors! And see what they're... if they have any advice.
So, individuals like yourself, as opposed to any organized religious entities or bodies. I mean to ask.
You're speaking to the religious body. This old body is falling apart in front of me. Please, can we get to a smoother path?
Right.
Oh, that's much better. Oh.
There are temples and churches. God, my spine. Up there. Different religions. And what I mean to say is how superstitious are those who live up in the city? The upper echelons.
I forgot to get this for you. As I reach under the seat and I get you a bleacher pad. My apologies.
Thank you.
Sorry. I can't think. Well, there's many, but on the top of the list would be Osiris.
I believe I've heard of this name in my travels, but clarification is always useful.
He is the Broad Rider, the great sun in the sky. They are known by many names. But this name is what was provided to my people when we got here. The marks the sign of the sun. So we adopted their name. Our Osiris was under our feet. This one became the Osiris over our heads. You can find many temples in Upper City, but none grander than the House of Osiris.
The way you speak of religion is inspiring, my friend.
The divine has a way of doing that.
I wouldn't know.
Where you come from, is there not anyone who believes in something greater than themselves?
Plenty. But I left that behind a very long time ago.
I understand.
There are darker things than your fire and your light, Farouk.
Indeed. They have not had the light shine on them yet. They would not be nearly as dark as you prognosticate.
But that also means there's a light to snuff out.
My light is not of a candle's misket. It burns bright whether the clouds are here or not. You'll find out in Upper City.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, at least the bumpy road is behind us.
Indeed. Leaving the bourgeoisie behind and starting to head up the long spiral steps that rise up. Very Final Fantasy XIV vertical. very Luma Lumsa, just constantly going farther north with no quick way to travel. As slowly but surely the population density begins to spread. It opens up. It's a bit more dusty. With no cloud cover and only blue sky ahead of you, it's almost as if you're looking at the ocean up above you. It has an eerie effect as you get closer to the sun. For once, the sun is bearable. If it wasn't the most immaculate day, you would definitely need to take some consideration of clothing, ointments, or oils. But today is just right. Not even gleaning that extra bit of sweat as you continue farther up. Everything that you see glitters like sand that is a mixture of gold and white. You can see all of these alabaster buildings now appearing that seem to go up vertically, almost like the pinnacle. You can see people out and about going through their daily chores. Folks are hanging up clotheslines, picking vegetables. Children are running in between the corridors as dust kicks up. You can see a handful of them playing footy, kicking the ball across. You can hear fresh chickens and coops being harvested for their eggs. It is a vibrant culture as you look through, and you mainly begin to see Orcish Efreet, Human Efreet, Tieflings. At one point in time, you pass a structure that is of dwarven style. And it stands out from the rest of them because it is this very dark iron building. And you can see it is a massive dark iron dwarf forge that sits atop here, absorbing as much heat as it possibly can. And you can see the obsidian skin of the dwarves that work there as the black soot puffs out, and you can see several of them standing outside getting some fresh air as it gets closer to lunchtime. You can hear bells ringing from small classrooms as folks begin to gather in large one-room open schoolhouses that look very mission style. Continuing to spiral all the way to the top to where there is a great dome and buildings that seem to be geometrically placed in just all the right areas surrounding this great alabaster dome. It's as if you cut Epcot's dome in half and made it more rudimentary. In this massive cutout as it digs into the ground. This dugout makes for a grand amphitheater that at the current time has a very small fire that is lit. As the sun is directly positioned straight above us, shadows are as small as they ever will be. And those cabs come to a stop. as there are as many eyeballs as you can possibly imagine staring back out at a line of cabs that have come here with some very interesting passengers.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm gonna roll 2 things. I'm gonna see what's happening. All right, that's not good to start with. Here comes the really important one, though. After the bad sausage, I say bad, it's not bad, it's just burnt, and Kaivar is a measly insect. And the bumpy cab ride. Unfortunately, Kaivar does not know of anything in city cultures that would equate to like a drain ditch or something along those lines. He's gonna get out of the cab, and very groggily, he's gonna just throw up on the side of it.
Handful of the children go, ew. One of them comes running up with a stick and pokes it.
Kids are gross.
Kids are gross, but man, that's so good.
Whoa. Looks up at you with his small little afreet horns, large pinkish eyes as he looks up at you, Kaivar.
Quite unintentionally, looking at this this kid who's just run up and poked his vomit, Kaivar is a little taken aback by things, doesn't really know how to react at first, so just falls back on the thing that has mostly gotten him out of trouble. Sorry. It's like little antennae just droop a little bit. He just wanders back in the direction of Farouk.
Chrissy is not far behind as he kind of just flitters out and just looks at the child who I don't want to say he knows, but he's probably seen before, having been up here with Farouk frequently enough. And he just kind of waves at him off and says, "Don't you have other piles of puke to poke at?"
Yeah, drops the stick and goes running back over to one of the soccer balls. He kicks it as hard as it can. You can hear it bounce off the side of a house. You can hear some language over on the side.
There is just a cackle from Chrissy as he looks over towards poor Kaivar and like holds out this very small vial that he takes off his hip of honeydew nectar, and he hands it to him and says, "It's not much. It'll help settle the stomach at least a little bit."
Yeah, Kaivar intrinsically trusts you. Doesn't even take a second thought. Just accepts it in one of his small hands and just goes ahead. Starts to uncork it.
Thank you, Chrissy.
It's all right. It's been. If you haven't traveled that, it's hard on anybody. Like the big folks, they complain about their backs hurting all the time. Me, whatever, you know. But that'll help settle things, and it tastes good. You'll notice that when you do take it, it is cloyingly sweet. But it's soothing. Like there's a warmth that builds that just, it's comforting.
As Kaivar sort of like takes it, shakes it all off of him, and just sort of like focuses up, you can see that a tiny bit of the vomit has unfortunately gotten on the book, but it also shakes the vomit off. Like the pages and everything give like a tiny little rustle, and then it sort of returns to being motionless as it sort of dispels a bunch of that nastiness. Almost like it's manually cast prestidigitation. This is the tiniest and almost most discreet version of a dog shaking water off of itself that you could imagine. The book just settles back down again.
Chrissy actually does cast Prestidigitation on the ground. So that way when he flutters down, he's not standing in the remnants of breakfast. And he just kind of like gently pats Kaivar's leg and then looks towards the other cabs to see where everybody is, how everybody is doing, and has, oddly enough, more than enough like honeydew nectar as needed for anyone who feels like they just need something to settle themselves.
Yeah, Callisto walks out with head down, almost trying to avoid really any real eye contact with anyone around, especially with how conspicuous the cabs are, and he can only assume that wardens don't often come up here either, so just extra lights pointing in their direction in a way that he very much does not want. But he comes out, he's fine, he's traversed in things like this before, so he doesn't feel sick or really that achy from the ride. But just looking around, and I think immediately catches a glimpse of the amphitheater, which he kind of assumes is where things might take place, and will look back to Lelufia. I think without saying anything, you can tell he's kind of just, he's looking at you, Lelufia, then down at your hand, and he's trying to be like, I want to hold your hand, please. But he's just generally so anxious about what's happening right now that he doesn't really have the words to say it.
I feel like at first, whenever you turn around, normally if she is walking behind you, not beside you, she's like a good foot or two away, just to make sure you always have space. It's just how she is. However, this time you look and your eyes try to go to the place that you would normally find her, and then you realize you need to look down even more because she's that much closer. As she is kind of, as you're looking at her hands, she's not looking up at you. She's just kind of got her hands folded together and like eyes forward, eyes on the prize kind of thing.
I think.
And also looking out to this, you would just hear her, well, are you ready?
Do you want the truth, or... No, I'm really not, but... We have to.
Yeah, no kidding. We didn't come up here, and she's just looking around for no reason.
Yeah. Takes a deep breath.
Hearing that, she would look up at you.
Welcome, everyone, to my home. Our home in the sky. Spreads his hands and looks up to the sky. Taking a small basket, he hands out a handful of blueberry muffins to our peddlers that are clearly from the Amber Forge that he's put in his knapsack. You can see also there is some currency exchanged as well. It's not just food. Thank you. As they ride off into the dust. And the first thing you notice is there is a considerable amount of small particle debris that is up here. It's like the dusty top of an old shelf. And you can see that often when the people walk, they'll even take advantage of it and kind of like slide the last half couple of feet as they normally walk, and then like a small child would, they've really just come to encompass it. And as a dancing people, you can see there are crazy patterns in the ground that's all around you, as there seems to be not a lot of wasted motion that's up here. If you're to get from point A to point B, why not do it in style and honoring their gods? We have come here for questions.
Yes, where do we ask them? Lead the way.
First, we must prepare ourselves for such an evening. As Farouk claps his hands, and you hear that auditorium that's in front, about 500 people stand up in unison, and they become filing out with large pieces of plywood and what look like rudimentary cinder blocks as they begin lighting out these massive banquet tables. As you can see, heads of households pulling out inconceivable amounts of food. As it begins to fill this entire table, there are soups, there are stews, there's the smell of fresh street corn and roasted chicken thighs on spigots, the drippings of fat over Yukon Gold potatoes, savory bits that fade in to fresh ripened fruit, perfect watermelon, cantaloupe, and honeydew melon. Fresh cut and fried plantains. The smell of a horchata style like beverage of cinnamon and cream. It's a bit overwhelming as people continue to file out.
Lolly closes the distance between her and Callie, and normally she would make sure he was okay with it, but she immediately just wraps her arm around his, just like to hold him close, but a little behind. She's a little nervous about this crowd.
He probably appreciates it more than she realizes when she does that, as he kind of places a hand over hers on his arm. And kind of watches all of this go down. So I think even he is a bit anxious. I think he came into this fully thinking they was going to speak and interact with one person, maybe two. To think 500 pour out of this place, he is taken aback.
Chrissy, after checking in on Kaivar and looking over to Mishkin, who he assumes is a little nervous, a little more than nervous right now, smiles at Farouk as he moves towards this massive banquet table, and in true like Chrissy style, even though there's not much that he can add to this table, he pulls a charcuterie board out from the basket with different cheese slices and fruits, and it's a little bit bigger than he is. He has to hold it with two arms underneath it, and he just places it on the table. And Lily pops up and just kind of like looks to see that it's in the right place before, nodding at Chrissy and backing away as Chrissy backs away from the table as well. But he does look to, some of the patrons at this table and like smiles and nods, and, you know, this isn't his first rodeo up here. Farouk has taught him the ropes relatively well, but even if Farouk didn't, Chrissy is one to follow customs, even if they're not his own, because he understands how important they are. And he does want to be as respectful as possible.
I am sorry if this is a surprise. I couldn't stop all of this if I wanted to. This is simply how we host guests here. Let alone for us to ask of our ancestors for such challenging questions. They mandate that we honor our lives. So we shall feast today. Enjoy each other's company under a perfect day. And tonight, we will dance until sundown. And we will ask our ancestors to aid us with our problems. If anyone needs a place to remove themselves, my home is here. As he points directly across from the great amphitheater. And you can see this massive skull that's out in front of this shamanistic hut directly across. Looks like it's a Boulez, if you've ever seen one. Please, follow me.
Yeah.
The first thing that hits as he pulls back the crimson red tapestry of where the door and entrance is, you are hit with this cold mist as the temperature drops drastically. As when you walk in, there are not one but 4 elementals that are pulsing inside of his domicile, just trying to set the creature comforts to something that the rest of the party would be used to. A little Afriti air conditioning. As he takes you through a modest but simple home, you do notice the 10 pictures of elders as you walk through the main. Several guest rooms where comfortable style cots and some hanging hammocks and provisions are. Enough for everyone to be comfortable in their own space. Please feel free if any point in time the sun can be overbearing for those who are not conditioned. While it does give, it also tests.
Yes, I think I'll stay for a while. Do you need me to do anything with... you mentioned the dancing and the food. I didn't bring any food. I'm not entirely sure what I should do in this situation.
have provided me with many meals, my friend.
Okay.
Food is on my people tonight.
Can I roll
Chrissy-
perception to...
Ooh.
Yeah, go ahead, Raven. My apologies.
No, you're fine. Chrissy, like, after Chrissy stumbles through the curtain to the entrance of the house and is already wiping like some grease from his face, because it's not like one of the kids just fed him any food or anything. It's fine. And he just kind of like stumbles in a little bit and giggles and just like then promptly like straightens out his suit jacket and is just like, sorry, you know, the kids, they love me.
That they do.
Throughout all of this, Michigan has just been observing the people who lay out a banquet feast for an army, observing Farouk's surroundings, observing Chrissy, observing Lelufia, observing seems to be quite an ill Kaivar, but specifically keeping an eye on Callisto. But he hangs back. He hangs back and keeps close to the walls, his back never open.
What was Bife gonna do? Because I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a bunch of hammocks in there. I was going to ask if I could roll perception to see if there's a box.
Yes.
Do
There
it,
are.
see what happens.
There is one in particular that you see that catches your fancy. And it's a double door style cabinet. If you open it up, it is very cold on the inside. There's a large ceramic jug inside. It smells of bread. Distinctively a little funk.
Hoppy? A little bit of hoppy smell, you know, something like that.
If you've ever smelled one before.
I don't think Kaivar has. He's gonna pick it up, take a sniff. Very pungent sniff. Kaivar's just going to place it outside to the side of the cabinet. Just sort of take a look around, just take a look inside, be like, yeah, this works. Then it goes back outside the thing, close the cabinet doors, rejoin the others. Leave the beer outside.
What?
No
Chrissy's gonna
clue
watch
what
this and
this-
be like, Kaivar, you're gonna want to put that back in there.
Oh, he's trying to get the party started already. As Farouk
Are
will
we-
go in and take the jug.
You're bringing that? That's a lot. I mean, for me, not
Look
for
at-
you, for me.
Of course, as he grabs your favorite cup in the house.
Yes.
What does your favorite cup look like?
It is. It's not what you think it is. It is a very roughly crafted ceramic cup that looks like it was created with, like, by a child. And it is very, very, very small. It was probably supposed to be a thimble, or that's what the basis of the creation was. And it just on there very haphazardly says, "For Chrissy," and Chrissy is spelled Krizzy.
I love it. As he dips it in on top and gives you a fresh cup of ale.
Oh, Farouk. And he just lifts this thimble and like takes a small sip, and it is pungent. And like you just see Chrissy's entire body shiver from tip to toe to tip to wing, and his little pointed ears and like the hair that is so well manicured on his head stands on edge for a second before his entire body calms down. He goes, whoa, and he leaves promptly, and like there is a pep in his step, and he's swinging his arms, and he's just, starting to hum and sing and dance his way out the door, and he just slides past the curtain back outside.
And that jug fills back up ever so little what was taken from it.
RoBear, can I ask you to roll a d20 privately? With whatever the d20 rolls, could you decide whether Kaivar, metabolically speaking, can get drunk or not? The reason I say privately, I don't want to know. I want this to be uninfluenced as the RP happens. Not really understanding what the point of beer is, but seeing that Farouk has gone and taken a sip, and that Chrissy's gone and taken a sip, and he trusts both these people. Kaivar is going to go over, grab a cup, and he is going to drink it like it's water.
So I'm going to show you, I accidentally rolled a D12 at first. So I went ahead and I rolled the second. All right.
Do I need to roll anything to see if I'm in trouble?
No, you don't. Because
Cool.
you have feelings that wash over for you that is unlike anything you have ever experienced with this Nat 1.
Yes! Oh my god!
Oh my god.
Oh my god! He's super drunk!
Is a moment of pure bliss that turns to fever dream. As there is music, there is food, there is your first alcoholic beverage experience on a perfect day. I've probably only had 6 of these days in my real life. It's the perfect winery day or beer hall day. And even though it's a Nat 1 for you, you just get swept up on all of it. Everything tastes better. The street corn by the second beverage, immaculate. The first time that you've ever had a corn husk tamale, amazing. Real avocados, delicious. You soak up this feast for all that it is. But you are going to be a very tired, very full boy when all of this is done.
Looks over to Farouk, and unfortunately, in the stupor, has knocked one of the dials rather on the Vox a little bit too much. Just looks at you.
I don't think you have your thingy set right, my friend. I can't hear you anymore.
Ivar is completely unresponsive. Like, if he could just have this placid, happy smile on his face, he would. But it's very much like, he's just very, very calmed and chilled out right now.
Somebody get this man another piece of street corn, please. Extra Parmesan. As the elote comes on multiple sticks. Callisto.
I believe it was a 1. So sorry.
That's perfect.
Literally perfect.
I am probably noticing that you and Lolly have been absent for a lot of the feast.
Yeah. I haven't. Callisto and Lufia haven't left the Farouk's abode at all. Yeah, I think it just kind of that, and I think you would have noticed that when you originally had brought us in and showed us around, that it didn't seem to be on purpose. It didn't seem to be a conscious decision, but he went straight to the seats that would place him furthest away from the amphitheater. And obviously with Lufia sticking close by him, so does she. And when you notice that they're not around, and if you do look for them, they're in Farouk's home in the same seats. Just, I think, silently busying themselves. They're both very uncomfortable right now, I think, is the best way to put it. Luffy is not too much of a surprise. I think from the times we've passed each other and the time we've been together, you know that Luffy just isn't a fan of crowds, especially crowds of strangers.
It is a clash of cultures.
Yeah.
100%.
But Callisto has always been, regardless of whether you knew him before or now, has always been almost the face of the couple. Willing to be the friendly face to make conversation and socialize. But even now, where this would be the prime place to do that, he feels so out of place right now and so uncomfortable. So he's just sat there, waiting for what to do next for when his part comes and whatever is meant to happen today.
Looking back and seeing the lights on back at his domicile, I will go and prepare a couple of plates and bring those back. I know things can be a little overwhelming here.
Lufia says, no kidding. And Callisto just nods. Yeah, sorry. Just a bit low on the social battery right now, and I really wasn't prepared for that many people.
Understood. We'll call for you when it gets dark. And you can see an understanding, but a equally disappointed Farouk as he leaves. The 2 meals set on the table.
Thank you for the food, by the way. It looks good.
You're welcome. As he's also brought in a pitcher of some kind of non-alcoholic concoction. It kind of it's like a lemonade with a little bit of mint. He's left that on the table as he realizes it. He knows that Lolly does not partake. We'll see you at sundown.
Yeah. Thank you again for all of this. I don't mean to seem ungrateful.
He just kind of takes a big breath and nods his head. Mishkin, where are you in all of this?
So, it's not yet sundown, you said.
No, it's not, but it is the golden hour.
Okay. As the sun lowers in the sky and as the light becomes more orange and shadows stretch longer and longer through the streets, Mishkin is going to keep his scarf up, hooded over his furry features, and moving round the side of this feast, this celebration, as fires dance and cause shadows to flicker against the walls. And he's going to observe and circle. And looking out into the streets and the rest of the district, is it fair to say that with the amount of people congregated here, the rest of the district seems quieter?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
In
like
that
Super
case-
Bowl. Everybody's all in one place.
In that case, Mishkin is going to explore, walking through quiet streets, moving as unseen as he can, on his own.
Roll that stealth.
I'm actually gonna roll a perception too.
31.
Damn. 24. Nope. I'm having a good time. I'm drinking.
I see
think-
you skulking
Ooh.
out away from the crowd as you've been absent from the feast for quite some time. God, fuck. You see dead
That makes
people.
sense.
I see. I see sounds. I taste colors.
Everything is moving in slow-mo. Sounds like you're underwater, yeah.
Kaivar went to Guardian Con.
Oh, went to Guardian Con and had one too many rums one night before an event and accidentally made a choker that turned me to originals. I'm so sorry for derailing that.
It's perfect. Hey, Chrissy,
Yes. Hi.
look at our friend here.
Oh, there's a lot of friends. I'm not drunk. You're drunk.
I point to the shadow on the wall that is distinctly of a crouching Mishkin as he disappears against it, wandering through the streets.
You see Chrissy just kind of narrow his eyes and like a father puts his balled fists on his hips and just like leans his neck out just a little bit, like little sneaky devil, and just like flutters towards the shadow, not assuming that Farouk is moving as well. And then as Farouk would move past Chrissy just grabs onto his leg and like rides his leg like a swinging ship.
I'm gonna roll stealth at disadvantage. So I'll let you make one roll, and I'll make one roll for stealth.
Okay. 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 Oh, 17.
Oh!
That one was there. Oh my god.
Oh!
Just enough.
Sneaky.
By the way, your stuff
sneaky.
is real slow, real low. Why is your stuff so low? God.
Who, mine?
Yeah.
Because I'm a flamboyant sprite.
Oh my
And
god.
I am untrained
okay.
in stealth. I am literally the charismatic one of the bunch. I want people to look at me.
Wait, you got high charisma? Okay, cool. If you got high charisma, you can bluff your way out of getting caught. I guess.
Exactly, exactly.
You, Chrissy, and Farouk observe from tailing you.
You see Mishkin gravitating not towards homes or landmarks, but anything resembling places of knowledge. Stopping outside of libraries, however large or small, but specifically lingering at temples, lingering at churches and places of worship, and specifically having noted, yes, Ifriti of various sorts, but moreover tieflings, stopping at a variety of temples where perhaps gods and deities of perhaps more hellish or fiendish origins.
There's one
are
very
worshipped.
easy to see building as it shines a bit more than the rest, as there is this clear emissary style brass building.
I would assume at this point, like, Farouk has moved me from his leg to his shoulder because hanging from a leg is weird. But Chrissy will do it. No shame. And so Chrissy just kind of leans in and says, okay, all right, hear me out. There's a couple lines of thought that I'm having right now. One, you can't know everything, and even when you do, it's a curse, not a blessing, right? Like, we agree on that, Farouk?
Of course.
It's just not good for you. It's stressful. You got the weight of the universe on your shoulders, and you know that he's speaking from experience. It's just it's a messy business. But I'm assuming that we do notice that you are lingering more on, like, the demonic entity type things.
Definitely near places of worship, yes, but I am lingering a little more at this point.
Okay. But the demonic stuff, there's a connection there, you know? I'm not judging. I think Mishkin is a very nice cat man.
I think he'll be sorely disappointed what he finds past that front door, as do most.
Yeah.
It is not an embassy for the Nine Hells. It's a sanctuary for those who got out.
It's a good place to be. Maybe, just maybe, he needs that. Chrissy kind of tilts his head to the side as he watches Mishkin. He just, I don't know everything, but he's dealt with a lot of hurt. Maybe if he does look in there, it'll bring him some kind of healing.
Maybe. Mishkin door swings open. And there's a tiefling standing back behind it with spectacles, a large white beard, a plume of white hair tucked in between two large horns, and simple robes. Excuse me.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I thought perhaps With the festivities, there would be no one around.
No one around. There's always work to be done. I've not seen you through these parts. I don't know you from any correspondence, would I? As he pulls his spectacles up and he pulls a long notebook out.
No, he would not. This is my first time visiting. I've only been in Stormforge little under a month.
Are you sure?
Yes, quite sure.
As he stares down at a long list. Meatball 13. Dr. Dreads. Hound Dog. Captain Indominus 78. Viper. You don't look much like the Viper type.
These gamer tags?
Mishkin looks at this strange individual and is merely sightseeing, looking at places of worship. Is all.
Last question. Are you Wasp Wonder?
I am not, no. Although, who do I have the pleasure of talking with?
Certainly none of those. Simply strange names that they give me these days. My name is Vias. And those would be clients. Ones that would prefer to not step through brass walls.
Why is that?
I believe if you can call them former employers, have quite the name for themselves.
You once resided in the non-material plane.
I was a compensated employee for over 75 years. A compensated employee with no choice.
I imagine in that case you saw a lot.
Indeed. I am an artificer, mechanist. But unlike those one-sided, obtuse who built this city, I don't forsake my options. As you kind of peer up over at his station, there are all sorts of devices infused with spell scrolls and runes and odd bits of ore that you have never seen. It's a mixture of magic and science inside this building.
Perhaps not tonight. I am traveling with colleagues, but perhaps while I am staying in Upper City, I might be permitted to hear stories and overlook any writings you might have. I'd be interested.
Matter of fact, I have an appointment tonight. I don't know exactly how confidential it is, but I've been instructed to look at a particular ailment of rather interest.
Is that right?
Indeed.
Who is it who requested this appointment, if I might ask?
Well, if you're not Wasp Wonder, then I'm probably not going to know.
I am not. Well,
Things are done on a rather discreet manner until my sciences are applied. No one wants to be associated unless it's a ravishing success. But it's not always the case.
no. No, it is not. Well, Vyas, your building is beautiful, and I shall be on my way.
It's a reminder, you know.
Of what?
That there's beauty in Bedlam.
And Mishkin looks from the brass temple, and hearing the sound of music and of dancing and merriment in the distance, just turns to look at the slowly increasing piles of flames. Yes, I suppose there is. Good night.
Good evening, my friend. This will begin polishing a small obelisk before Vyas wraps back into the brass temple. He's run into Vyas.
Is that not good? Is that good? Not good?
I don't know. How did he know?
I don't listen, you know, he's been around for a while. I don't know.
Well, I made sure to contact Vyas to take a good look after we speak to the ancestors to see if there's anything that he can do. If there's something that science down below can't get right, Vyas is the one up above.
Then you did the right thing. You did the right thing, Farouk. Because not everything has a scientific explanation. We both know that.
I know, I just don't know how Mishkin knew.
I don't know. Mishkin is very cunning.
He went straight for that house. He had to. No matter.
Hey, Mishkin's on our side. It's okay. Just from the overall feeling I get, because I don't know really what's been going on, right? But I don't know. I think Mishkin's trying to help. And also figure out his own path.
We all have our secrets.
Yeah. We do.
We all have our secrets. Come.
There's just a very gentle, like, reaffirming, like, pat to the bridge of skin that connects Farouk's neck to his shoulder. Hey. Tonight we dance. And I've made sure to pack my finest dancing outfit, okay?
Ah! Tonight we dance.
Tonight we dance, and we find answers, or we fail. And when we fail, we'll just find the next place.
Chrissy.
Failure's not a bad thing. Yes. Yes. Farouk.
We do not fail.
We learn.
We learn.
Attaboy. Let's go get him. More food. More beer.
As they slide over arm in arm to catch up on Kaivar, who's very much catching a strong vibe from the collective musicians and the dancing at the center atrium.
He's only really just started to notice this for the past 20 minutes. He is not really realizing it, been blowing bubbles in his beer. It's like, you've never seen this with mandibles either, so whenever a bubble comes along, it's like...
Chrissy, roll a performance at advantage.
Perfect. Okay. Hold on. Where
Oh,
are we?
hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Look at these
Oh,
rolls.
yeah. Cutting
Yeah.
a rug.
Yes.
As we perform the sundown ceremony as well as we have ever done before, a good meal, a little bit of beverage. We're stunting. We have great company stealing the show. Bit by bit, our provisions begin to be moved towards the sides for those late nibblers and those folks that need to soak up a little bit of what they imbibed earlier. Now there's a stark silence as sundown hits. And piece by piece, individuals begin lining up, tossing their torches out onto the ceremonial fire. As what is once small grows in pallet size. Kaivar, slowly, even the cornbread begins to bring you out of your blissful stupefy. Making my slow, long walk back towards my domicile. Callisto, Lufia, it is time.
You'll see that both plates have been emptied. We've both eaten and drank some of the lemonade as well. And there were definitely hushed whispers between Callisto and Lufia that you just walk into, and they abruptly stop, not to hide whatever they were talking about, but almost like the thing that we've been nervous about has started. Let's try and get this over with. And Callisto looks up, leg kind of still bouncing where he sat with the nerves. He goes, okay, okay. And we'll stand up. I think Lufia will stand up with him. I think her arm wrapped around his, almost like they haven't left each other's touch this entire time, and they will walk out and follow Farouk.
Making your procession towards the tribal fire. With Kaivar and Mishkin on the wings, you guys stare out with that cinder gaze. And that is where we will pick up next week.
Ooh.
God, I want to go forever! I love you guys. Oh, it's so hard to cut things off. So hard.
Yeah, that was a good
Yes.
point. That was a good point to do it.
No, cut.
Oh, I love nut
So
ones.
funny. So funny.
We said we'd get to a scene of drinking, and boy, oh boy, did we get to it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm so sorry if I'm so sorry if by the end of the thing I was slowly starting to sort of nod in my own chair. I promise you that is just me RPing Kaivar and totally not me having been awake for way too long today.
Never. Awesome.
I'm excited. Next week's gonna be good.
Yeah,
I hope
it's
we
gonna
have
be-
everybody. Oh gosh, if we don't have you, we don't have drag. We can't even go tomorrow.
know.
We can't even go
I was-
next week.
I will try my best.
We'll
I'll try my best.
we'll see what we can do. We'll talk in the DMs and try to make something
Yeah.
happen. Because obviously we can't do it without you.
Yeah.
Oh,
If I before we jump away or do anything else, real quick, I'd love to get an announcement out there if there's a moment.
absolutely. Let them fly, y'all.
Yeah, so this upcoming week is going to be the start of the GCX Charity Marathon. It's a real great time. Myself and Ben will be having a sorry, I realized this is his first name. Me and Professor Broman will be doing our charity block, and it is actually literally on the same day as Stormforge. So I will be theoretically, Kaivar will still be recovering from this hangover for just a little bit prior to it. If you want to catch me from 12 Eastern Standard to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, I believe are the times, that is going to be when I'm on stream. We're going to be raising money for the kids of St. Jude, of course. So if you have anything spare in your pocketbook, pay it forward. Be generous if you can. And if not, remember that turning out and supporting the stream and just having that open so that we can get very high in the Twitch directory is that's free. So yeah, that can significantly help out too. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I'll do an announcement real quick. Today we announced the final cast member of Beyond the Brook, which is a dark fantasy actual play that I'm going to be project lead of, and we have the amazing Edward Spence running. We've got a very incredible cast. It's going to be hitting Kickstarter soon. Actually, I'm going to be announcing a date soon. But if you want to back it, please do. You can go to my Twitter at Draconics, that's DRAKONIQUES, and see in my pinned tweet the link to the Kickstarter. Or you can just go on Kickstarter and search Beyond the Brook, and Over the Garden Wall inspired actual play, and you can see it there. And click it so you can be notified when it goes live, because we've got some very cool things as incentives, and all of them most of the cooler ones are limited, so you want to get there quickly so you can get your hands on them. All I would say is that we are sponsored by Die Hard Dice, so you can only guess what some of the incentives must be. But yeah, other than that, follow me on Twitter, I guess. I'm gonna probably be a little less active on Twitter in the next couple of weeks, but all for good reason, and you might hear that secondary good reason soon. But follow me on Twitter to find out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Love intrigue.
Links are in all the chats. Anyone else?
No, just double down on what Drac said. Go check out their Twitter, go check out their Kickstarter. It's an incredibly exciting cast, and knowing some of the characters that they are already bringing to the table, it's going to be a very, very exciting campaign. So yeah, if you want to be a part of it, go check it out.
Most excellent. We'll see you all tomorrow for the last episode of Meteorian Core before the finale at GCX. So we'll see you at 5 Central Time. Love you all. Be good to each other. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, love you. Bye.
Bye.